Certain bands have a sort of mentor quality to them. Bands that for some reason many musicians mention as the ones that got them into the music game. The most frequently mentioned are the Beatles, Kiss, and perhaps to a lesser extent Van Halen. I've lost count of how many rock musicians I've heard saying that they felt the call after watching the Beatles at Ed Sullivan, or because they went to a Kiss show and bedazzled, they pointed at the stage and said, "I want that," and that was it. For some unknown reason, my choices in life always tend to be minority, and in my case, that band that brought me to the party is one that isn't typically named as a mentor. For me, everything started with Queen. My moment of fascination came watching a video of Freddie Mercury jumping around at Wembley Stadium, singing his guts out, commanding and teasing the audience into having a great time. That's when I pointed at the stage and I said, "I want that." In my teens, I was a Queen-obsessed fanatic, and the peak of my obsession coincided exactly with Freddie Mercury's death that I didn't see coming and crushed me. It's funny, I guess hindsight is always 20/20, but when I watch now videos from the Innuendo cycle or any other material from that era, I get a very clear funeral vibe, a feeling of something not being right. The choice of stock footage or black and white for the music videos, the album art, the attire of Freddie's bandmates, colorful yet somehow sober. I remember in those original days, that feeling wasn't there at all. A Queen music video came on the TV, and it was only yet another display of their creative power and constant metamorphosis, their next level. Perhaps the end was so unexpected also because Freddie Mercury kept making music till the last of his days. There's this well-known band meeting when he announced the others, "Okay, I have this disease, there's no cure, and I just want to make music until the day I fucking die." I remind myself that sentence often, in those moments when you wonder what's the point of putting out more music. Freddie's example helps me to go on. He's up there with the heroism of other musicians like Leonard Cohen, David Bowie or Lee Kerslake, who, when they found out they were doomed, withstood the pain and dedicated their final moments of life to leaving an album as a parting gift. Or the admirable case of Jason Becker, former guitar prodigy who's lived now for years paralyzed by a cruel disease and still makes music to this day using only his eyes. It's difficult to complain when you see courage of such magnitude. It seems during the final video shootings, Freddie was already so ill that both standing up and sitting down were for him the same agony. And yet, you can see him in the making of, still keeping his cool, making jokes, and pretty much being the driving creative force. Short after he died, I wrote one of my first songs, a clumsy, sappy, Queen-like piano ballad dedicated to him that I never showed to anyone. The best line went, "There's only music left and now I miss you so." Queen is also the band that showed me that making records was a thing, and only after years I've realized how beautiful is the way in which they taught me. I remember that Christmas morning reading the cassette inlay of The Miracle, the first Queen album that I ever owned, and the very moment when I reached the lines, "All songs written by Queen, produced by Queen and David Richards." Of course, my younger self reflected, they play the songs, but the songs have to be written first by someone. And I guess production will be all that studio stuff you see in the movies. Only years later, I've connected the dots. The Miracle was the first record in which Brian May, Roger Taylor, John Deacon and Freddie Mercury, tired of arguing about rights, decided that from that point all the songs would be attributed to Queen as a whole. That was also the reason why that album cover was an image of the four members' faces morphed into a single one. No doubt, that's the reason why that all songs written by Queen was so prominent. So my aha moment was the consequence of a good deed. The generosity, the letting go of their egos, planted that message there, a message that the teenage could understand, and the light bulb went off. Instead, if they had stuck to the old system, there would have been a small couple of names beside each song title, names that I would have not noticed, and the epiphany would have not happened. Maybe I'm getting too sentimental with age, but I see that event as the power of love in action, the way in which an act of love can resonate and keep giving. Love is always very present in Queen's music. Their songs are empowering, inclusive. And I cannot help but notice that the last song Freddie ever sang in a concert was Radio Gaga, which ends Someone Still Loves You, while his final melody in a music video was for These Are the Days of Our Lives, which ends with the words I still love you. No wonder that, through the years, I can still feel all that love, helping and comforting me, and nothing can take that away from me. And just like Freddie, I can also say it back I still love you, and forever enjoy the infinite treasure of those songs, of that unique band who dared to be themselves.